What's up guys, MikeCoco back here bringing guys a floor 75-5 tutorial, and this tutorial is not that hard. You just need a few pieces of equipment, provided that you have them. I'm showing you guys right now. Most of my heroes are basically SS Ascended with a few parts SS Judge. I do have a few pieces of legendary armor, maybe like one or two, but they won't provide a lot of use for this tutorial, so it is not a requirement. As you can see, it was like a level 1 and a level 7, so the passive HP is not even that high. It's just the healing factor, which is somewhat high, but it doesn't really help in this case. So pretty much for floor 75-5, you need to clear this floor in order to do bounty hunt, and a lot of people have been struggling to finish this floor. And what I recommend is using Adriel in your setup. So similar to the fleeing ants tutorial, the soldier ants tutorial for judge gear all the way back a long time ago, Adriel summon again was a very good tank, or like a meat shield. It took hits really easily and you wouldn't have to sacrifice one of your heroes, and it also drew enmity, so basically it drew aggro and the boss would just focus on the summon. And that's pretty much what you want to do here as well. You want to use that summon so that it can tank Nos' hits, and not only does it tank hits, but it also has a small attack debuff to boot, which makes surviving a lot easier. So pretty much what you want to do, you saw my heroes, they weren't perfect, you know, they're mostly using just, as I said before, SS Ascended and SS Judge with like maybe 2 or 3 pieces of legendary equipment, and provided that you might have gotten some from just Infinity Wars chests. So you want to use Adriel, give her a good staff, because her summon HP and the summon's tank ability is totally based on Adriel's staff, and if she has a really good staff, then the golem will have really high HP and defense, and it will be able to tank a lot of hits. So you want to give her a good staff. You also want her at 6-star, obviously, because her int also affects her HP. So right now what you're seeing is basically just the follow-up to the boss. Is not too difficult. You see that some people with SS Judge have a harder time taking hits. For example, Balor, he's using SS Judge, is having a little bit of a hard time, but with healers, it's not that hard. Right now I'm only running one event hero at 150% bonus, so you do not need any event heroes for this at all. Even one at 150% is not even that much extra damage, but it will be useful to help clear. But obviously this is useful for people who have trouble clearing 75-5. If you have a lot of event heroes, there should be no problem. So pretty much what you want to do is just clear these rounds. You don't want to take out the summon right now, because the summon tanks very well for single hits, but when you have all these mobs here, they don't tank. The golem doesn't really tank well because there are so many mobs and they deal a lot of damage. So you want to keep the golem just for the boss. Keep him for Nos, that way the golem will just take that one single hit and it'll survive. If you have the golem out beforehand, it might affect your ability to survive, and because it summons in front of her, Adriel, if the golem dies, then Adriel is dead and your plan is completely ruined. So I highly recommend not summoning the golem during the first 2 rounds. And right now the formation is set up this way so that when the boss arrives, you can move Corinna to the back, right in front of Drake, and then have Adriel summon her golem. Then the golem, provided that you have a good staff, the golem will survive a lot of Nos hits. Even sometimes when Nos uses his single attack, the golem will still survive. The shield won't even be broken. So that's just how well and how much HP the golem has. So it's really powerful. So that's pretty much it. Right now these 2 rounds, not much to do. You just basically just clear. You can also try using attack debuffers for this tutorial, but it seems that the golem method seems to be easier than all the other methods that involve more than one attack debuffer to reduce incoming damage. However, it is a bit slower, but you know, right now we have no need for time, so basically just take it slow, get this cleared. So the reason why we have Balor here is because Balor's ability, or Balor rather, will always crit a vampire, and Nos is a vampire. So what this means, that it doesn't matter what he does, he can steal Fury or his normal attack will always crit Nos, and that damage is really useful. plus the fact that a lot of these mobs spawn in rows, which is really useful for her, for Balor, not her, although he looks like a girl. It's useful for him to steal Fury, so that's why you want to have him there. I believe Vlad may also crit Nos. I'm not sure. Memory's not so well with Vlad's skill description, but it may be. Otherwise, you just need any tank there. You definitely want Jannette or some kind of attack debuff tank, for example Daphne, because that way it will reduce incoming damage from the mobs, and it will be useful for later spawns. Now, right there, you saw me change positions from Corinne to the back, and then have the golem move to the front. You want, when you summon the golem, you can either do it this way. You can either have Corinna move to the back first and then have Adriel summon, or you can summon the golem first, and the golem will summon behind Adriel, and then you can move Corinna back to the golem. Now, the important part is that you want to wait for the golem to finish its animation, and I cannot stress this enough. If you don't let the golem finish its shield animation and you try to move another character onto it, it says this character has already moved this turn, and you won't be able to move your hero onto the golem, and the golem cannot be placed in the front position. So you have to wait for the golem to finish its animation. It's very crucial, or else the golem will just be at the back and your tanks will start taking damage and they won't survive. So now we're at the stage of Nos. All you gotta do is just keep attacking, keep him stunned on the first turn, and when he drops to roughly 1/3 to 1/4 of his HP, he'll re-heal all of his HP back, and these altars are gonna appear, and you're gonna want to take them down. So right now, again, you just take down Nos, drop him to 1/3 HP, and pretty much just wait. When he gets to the second turn of his stun and his stun is about to wear off, you want to use Jannette to debuff him. Even if he only does one even if John only does 1 damage to him, you want to debuff, because that way Nos' next attack will not deal that much damage, because as soon as he's unstunned, he will attack. So see, with the attack debuff, he doesn't deal that much damage anymore, and this is a very important place. So right now, I actually made an error when I was doing this. You want to keep one altar stunned at all times. You never want to have an altar unstunned, because the problem is if you have Nos use his skill, which is the heal plus healing debuff, and the altars are unstunned, you'll have 2 healing debuffs, and what this means is that you will not be able to heal at all whatsoever. The 2 healing debuffs cancel out any healing whatsoever. So it's really important, because if you have no healing going on, your heroes are going to die really easily. So you want to be able to stun those altars. If you have to skip a turn and leave the altar or leave Nos alive, so that the altars don't spawn yet and you can use Drake to stun those altars, do that, or else it's very likely that you will die. So pretty much when you get close to Nos having close to 1/3 of his health and you realize you don't have Drake available to stun because he's already used his turn, you want to skip your turn and then have him stun the altar, or else a lot of bad things are going to happen and the outcome is not going to be good. And you will see now that I'll try to heal and nothing happens. And the reason why I keep healing the golem and buffing the golem using the attack, it seems that with greater attack boosts, the golem seems to survive longer. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what it seems to do, because the golem the shield's not even down yet, and Nos has attacked several times, I think. So that's why I keep buffing the golem. I'm not 100% sure if it actually works. It just seems to work, so I think I'll continue doing it. But that's just one piece of advice. So right now, you see that we destroyed the second altar and then more mobs spawn, and we left one of the mobs alive, and we did this strategically. It wasn't just because I misclicked or anything. As soon as you kill the mobs, you will have to stun the altar, and right there before, I only had one person left to attack, and it was not Drake. If I killed that mob, that means the altar would have been able to attack. So that means if the altar attacked, it would have casted another healing debuff, and I don't want that. And remember, if the mobs appear, then the altars can't attack you. They don't deal any damage. It's only the mobs that are dealing damage, because I believe the mobs or the altars just disappear for a while until the mobs are there. But the point is that as soon as if you have one mob left and you don't have Drake available for stunning and the mob is close to dying, you want to skip, because again, the priority is to stun those altars. You do not want to leave those altars alive whatsoever. So here we've destroyed the third altar, and these Crowleys are actually very, very dangerous. And this was another mistake I made, and it costed me quite heavily. I lost one of my tanks, I think. I may have lost one of my tanks, I'm not sure. I might have just lost the golem. But you saw right there that Vlad was not close to dying, but Neff was close to dying. And John was somewhat surviving decently. So when you get to those Crowleys, or rather before we get to those Crowleys, when you get to that third altar, you want to make sure you have someone to debuff. You want to make sure John is available to debuff them as soon as they appear, because they, again, you saw them, they appear and they spawn in a row. So if John is not available to debuff, you want to just leave the stunned altar, skip your turn, wait, destroy the altar with somebody else, preferably not Drake or John, because you want to keep those two last just in case mobs spawn. So let's say you could use main tome or Corinna, destroy the altar, let the mobs stun, and then, or let the mobs spawn rather, and have John debuff those mobs. So right now, as you see right now, I'm not 100% sure if I will be able to clear the mobs after when I destroy this altar. So it takes a bit of thinking, like forward thinking, to see what will happen if you destroy it. But otherwise, it's fairly simple. There's not much needed to do. It's fairly strategic for this floor, because it seems like a lot of these boss floors have a lot of strategy. You can't just go in and just go all out offense and keep attacking. It will work if you have event heroes, but then again, for those that have event heroes, you shouldn't be struggling with floor 75-5 anyway, and rather you'll need a more strategic approach if you don't have top gear and top heroes. So again, we attack debuffed Nos when his stun was about to wear out. That way he doesn't deal that much damage. And again, the golem is dying, but it's fine. We haven't lost any of our main heroes that we need to deal damage. You can also choose to summon the golem at the end of the turn, because that way it'll draw more aggro. But it doesn't really matter, because pretty much all of the golem will draw aggro pretty much all the time. Doesn't matter who deals damage, unless you have a really hard hard hitter. But again, that's unlikely if you don't have event heroes. So you want to always keep Drake stunned. Whenever you can stun Drake, you want to keep him stunned, because he deals quite a bit. Or not Drake, you want to stun Nos using Drake. So you want to keep Nos stunned as much as possible, because he does deal quite a bit of damage. But some of those mobs are quite annoying to deal with. For example, those Crowleys, I have a feeling it'll be a lot of people struggle with them. The first time I did it, they wiped out my entire tank line. I think the developers, someone nerfed 75-5 because I'm using the same gear, or I switched out all my gear that I was using to the same gear I was using before. So here, I don't know why they the mobs just focused Neff. She died, but it's fine. After this, after the fourth altar is destroyed, you can focus Nos all you want. He's gonna take all the damage. You're not gonna hit ones and misses on him. You just want to take him down. Keep him stunned. When his stuns wear off, remember just to debuff. If the stun is not about to wear off, then you know what? Save your fury. Don't let John go yet, because what it means is that you can use someone like Vlad and attack buff your entire team, or your team around Vlad, and or have an event hero use your skill. But other than that, that's pretty much it, guys. It's not too hard. Once you finish floor 75-5, you'll be able to get bounty hunt, access the bounty hunt, and that means you can start getting lots of legendary gear. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial, guys. Peace.